Hi everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Day's Podcast along with a new video. I want to thank you guys so much for liking, subscribing, viewing, watching, and listening. I truly appreciate it. We will continue with Patreon and Spotify exclusives. I have been just, of course, making sure there's enough free episodes and content for you all, so we will continue with that. But I wanted to, and for a while, talk about Solange. I have previously talked about Beyonce, as far as with all of her albums. So be sure to check out Dangerously in Love up until Cowboy Carter. It's all there in order, you know. And a little fun thing that I do with artists, I like to put their astrology in their own respective playlists. So that kind of helps you understand a bit better about who they are, and their personality a bit when it comes to their music. So be sure to check out their astrology, or your astrology, if anything, if it matches you. But yes, let's get into this. So we are going to talk about Solo Star. So Solo Star is the debut studio album by American singer Solange, released by Columbia Records in Music World on December 26th 2002 in Japan, and January 21st 2003 in the United States. It debuted and peaked at 49 on the US Billboard 200 and 93. Oh wait, no, sorry. And number 23 on the top R&B and hip hop albums in early February 2003. So it peaked at 49 on US Billboard 200 and number 23 in early February, which is kind of now, but that was 2003. We're in 2025, so it's been 22 years. Yeah, it's been 22 years. The album produced two singles, Feeling You featuring Nori, and Crush, later renamed to Don't Forget the Feeling. Feeling You reached number 73 on the Billboard Hot R&B Hip Hop Songs chart. So yes, as far as for Solange's first studio album, okay, the first single, yes, released December 17th, 2002, and then the second single, Crush, was released in 2003. It doesn't really say when exactly, but just in 2003. So before I get into the critical reception and release and promotion, I just want to tell you guys that as far as for this album, it's giving that we just wasn't able to just hear it enough. And at the peak of the time that it was released, so this is December 26th, we were already going into a new year. This was a good album that just wasn't heard enough, I believe. And I often talk about this with albums that may be noticeable but didn't chart as high. It happens a lot, even to your faves. Like, there be your faves that don't chart number one, okay? They sometimes go number two. Sometimes they go 6 or 20 something. Like, they don't always chart as high, but the recognition can still be there. But I feel as though with this album, there wasn't enough recognition as opposed to the chart placement. And yeah, I'm feeling a little way about that, because y'all shouldn't have took up until 2016 to be talking about at a seat at the table that she deserves a Grammy now. Like, no, she's been around for a while. 22 years plus. No, not Solange. I will support I have always supported Solange, but I will continue to support Solange, okay? All right, so let's look into the critical reception. William Ruhlman of AllMusic gave the album 3 out of 5 stars, saying executive producer Matthew Knowles has surrounded Solange with a bevy of trendy writer/producers, including the Underdogs, Platinum Status, Timbaland, the Neptunes, and Rockwilder, along with such guests as such guest stars as B2K and Little Romeo. The result is a state-of-the-art contemporary R&B album full of big beats, catchy choruses, and gimmicky production effects. But the nominal star of the show is lost somewhere in the mix. It doesn't help that the 16-year-old has a thin, undeveloped voice that is easily overwhelmed. I don't Ooh, and then Slant Magazine gave 2 out of 5 stars, saying the largely synthetic sounding Solo Star follows the growing industry standard in which the focus is on production rather than songwriting. Also adding that Solange's voice is uncannily similar to Solange's. Okay, so this is, you guys know I'm unbiased. You guys know I'm fair. This is where I disagree with critics when it comes to just in general, because there has to be someone that, even when they're looking at someone's critique, that is their opinion, that is their right to say what they feel they want to say about such project. Though I will be one of those few that will be looking at that critic like, well, wait a minute now, maybe you need to look a little bit more. Because there's times that I have noticed in the past when it comes to albums, when I'm researching albums that are from, the 90s, from when I was growing up, that there would be critics that would just be like, all right, well, look how she looks and look at how she's been in the media. I'm like, well, that's taking away from the album, but that's their critique. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, I do want people to know, as they're looking at my podcast, from even just previous episodes and future episodes, that there are critics out there that be full of it. Okay? There'd be critics out there that just be like, this is, but I'm not saying it just on a negative side. There do be critics that do be, putting things on a positive place, like putting things in a positive place, but also pushing aside things that shouldn't be pushed aside, that should be right next, if not just elevating with, and I think that's what we've been learning, even in just with the Grammys, just this past, few days or week, however you see this, or months, however you see this, but just in the sense of just where it's just like, yeah, there may have been certain people that could have won certain things, or could have, but when you kind of tally it all down, you say to yourself, wow, this artist deserved this, and that's why, I just kind of just sit back and kind of just fully look into everything before I just go out there and be like, no, because something's sad, and it's like, no. And then saying that it's uncannily her voice is uncannily similar to Beyonce's. So this is my thing, uncannily. Let's look up that word. That's one thing y'all will notice about me. We will have little dictionary sectors as I'm doing my commentary, because it's like, you want to be able to know, like, what made them say that particular word and not just other words, to just say that just say that it's strange that she sounds similar to her sister, or mysterious, especially one that is unset. Okay, so pretty much saying strange but in a bad way, but it's like, what do you mean? That is her sister. And what do seem to, like, eerie or weird. So this is my thing. So fucking what? That is her sister. That is her blood, and they have worked together. Beyonce is actually a producer on this album, so it's not even so much that she's not helping her sister in the form of wanting her to feel comfortable. Anyway, the album was released on December 2002. In December 2002 in Japan, while it was released in the United States the following month. It underperformed in the United States, selling 112,000 copies according to Nielsen SoundScan, and dropped off the chart 5 weeks after its debut. So again, we're going into 2003. There's all these other releases that are coming out, and Solange is fairly new. This is her debut, and at that time, there's just so much going on. And, it's something, because I didn't really note this in the beginning of the video, where Solange even released first before B, as opposed to Michelle and Kelly, respectively. So, everyone's releasing, everyone's coming out at their own times. And as far as for Solange, I feel as though, as much as, it's not really said, it's not said like this a lot, but get out there. Okay, it did not chart as high. We're going to keep going. And I'll tell you, when it came to Soul Angel, oh yeah, y'all knew her then with Tony. I decided, oh, we'll talk about that, but it's a shame. It's a shame that y'all took that long, but it's okay. Yeah, so, yeah, she had her singles that had came out. The album is no longer in print, and the online music website iTunes Store does not sell the album. A re-recording of Crush with vastly different instrumental and harmonies and featuring Papa Roo was included on the movie soundtrack for the Fighting Temptations, which stars Solange's sister Beyonce. This re-recording was renamed "Don't Fight the Feeling" to match the movie's poster's tagline. The album was promoted with the Solo Star tour in 2003. So she did tour. And like I said with previous artists, like, despite whether y'all be here for it and it's not charting as high, they are going to still go out there for those that actually support them and still put their music out, in a sense to where, no, you want some merch? You want to see me live at this venue and this stage? Like, fuck all that. I need to see my people, and why not? And I think, and you guys can actually look at this, and it is a recent tweet, like, with Mariah Carey. I believe there was something going on, but she had reacted with this tweet, and she was saying, well, I'm going to go see my Boston Lambs. And it warms my heart, because I've always listened to Beyonce, and well, for those that know me, I am from Massachusetts, so it's just, when artists be acknowledging it, of course you want them to acknowledge you, but when they acknowledge, your city, that means you too. So, yeah, with Solange, she said, all right, we all ain't gonna see me yet. It's all right. For those that want to, I'm on tour. All right, so let's get into the track list. So track 1 is Feeling You, Part 2, featuring Nori. Track 2, Ain't No Way. Track 3, Dance With You, featuring B2K. And Marcus Houston is actually a writer on this song, too. Yeah. Track 4, Get Together. Track 5, Crush, which was written by Pharrell. Track 6, So Be It. Track 7, True Love, duet with Little Romeo. I believe that was written from Luther Vandross, but it is a little remix there. Track 8, Feel Good Song. Track 9, Wonderland. Track 10, This Could Be Love. Oh, Sean Paul actually is a writer on here. Oh, no, that's another Sean Paul. Sean Paul Joseph. I'm sorry, guys. Track 11 is Feeling You, Part 1. And then track 12, Just Like You. Beyonce is an actual writer on this. Yep, she wrote that song with her sister. So, yeah, be noted on that be out writing with and for other people, too. And among other artists, they don't just come out with just themselves. They do be behind the scenes. A lot of people do be behind the scenes. And a lot of times, they don't always want to show that they've been credited. I mean, they can and they do, but I don't know. It just be seeming like it's like a mystery. Like, they were behind this song? Like, yeah. Yeah, track 13, Thinking About You, featuring Murphy Lee. Track 14, Solo Star. Track 15, I Used To. And track 16, Sky Away. And then there's the international bonus tracks, which are this Songs For You. Track 21 is Naive, duet with Beyonce featuring Debrat. So there is an actual song called Naive with Beyonce. Track 22, Feeling You, Part 2, Chopped and Screwed remix. So the Japanese edition has songs themselves, but the only difference I see here is, well, we'll go by the difference here. So track 10 instead is Feeling You, Part 1. Track 11 is Just Like You. Track 12 is Thinking About You, featuring Murphy Lee. Track 13, Soul Star. Track 14, I Used To. Track 15, Sky Away. Track 16 has the duet with Beyonce, Naive, featuring Debrat. Track 17 is Blinded. And then track 18 to 20 is somehow Silence. So I don't know why there's silence there. But it says Silence 18, 19, 20, like untitled. And then track 21 is The Songs for You. Track 22 is This Could Be Love. And yes, there was a 2006 re-release. So yeah, let me look at that real quick. So hold on. Solo Star was re-released in November 2006. So literally right after B-Day, with a different artwork and track listing. The reissue album contained 12 tracks, 7 tracks from 2002 standard edition, 4 remixes, and previously unreleased track titled Bring It On Home. There is a newly recorded version of Feeling You, which features American rapper Slim Thug. Both singles from the album were remixed. Crush was remixed by Vibalicious. Also a duet with Beyonce featuring Debrat titled Naive was remixed by Maurice Joshua. So if I'm not mistaken, let me look at something right here. Bring It On. Yes, I am talking about it. Bring It On, All or Nothing. Yes, so I remember when this movie came out and seeing Solange, and I said, oh my God, Solange is in a movie. Not that she hasn't been doing things prior, but yeah, she is in this movie. And I watched this movie, you know, every now and then. Of course, I love Hayden Panettiere too. But as far as when this movie came out, it says August 8th, 2006. So I gotta honestly say that it did promote and help the fact that Solange had an album that why not have reissued in the midst of when this movie is out and people are enjoying this movie. Like, no, she does have music. And I just wanted to make sure I pinpoint that with the sake of me learning that there was a reissue a couple months after this movie. I'm like, well, wait a minute now. Yeah, y'all better be making sure that she, you know, can be heard from an album, and that was an album that didn't get to really get as much recognition, and there was a bit more sales. And I believe from the reissue, it really helped her be able to know, because shoot, I was ready just in the mix. Let me see. Yeah, because it really helped her know that by 2008, yeah, you can really come back out. It's okay. And yep. So I want to thank you guys so much for listening and watching, and be sure to listen to Solo Star, because like I've said, with those that have debuts that haven't had as much love to such project, those are their debuts. This is their beginnings. So, you know, y'all may love them now, but appreciate what they were doing already. So that way, you know, it gives you a better understanding of who they are and their craft. So I will be back with more, and thank you again.